All right, so in our last one, we talked about the basics. Today, we're going to answer a really simple question. You hit that deposit button and poof, your money's gone from your account. So where does it actually go? Because it's not just sitting in some digital vault. In the next few minutes, we are going to follow that money step by step to see exactly how it gets put to work for you. But first, you know the drill, our quick but super important reminder. This is all just for educational purposes. This is not financial advice, and you should always, always do your own research. Okay, let's get right into it. Imagine you have $1,000 and you click deposit. What happens in that split second? Well, it doesn't just sit there. No way. It's immediately split up and put on the job. Let's follow the trail. So here's our game plan. We'll start with how your money gets split the moment you deposit. Then we'll follow each of those two paths, the big 95% chunk that becomes your toll booth and the smaller 5% that goes to the Treasury. We'll talk about what you actually get in return, put it all together, and then give you a sneak peek of what's coming up next. So let's start right at the beginning. The second your deposit hits the system, it's instantly divided. Your money immediately splits into two different buckets. The vast majority, a full 95%, goes into something called Barnard Bonds. The other 5%? That's sent over to the Treasury. To make this crystal clear, let's stick with our $1,000 example. So $950 instantly go to bonds. That's the system's main engine. The other $50 go to the Treasury, which basically helps run the whole show. Okay, so let's follow that bigger pile of cash, the $950. This is where your money really starts to generate returns. And we've got a pretty simple way to think about how it works. That $950 is used to get Barnard Bonds. And these bonds have one job and one job only. They sit inside trading pools and act like little magnets, pulling in tiny fees from every single transaction that happens. You know what? The absolute best way to picture this is to imagine you own a toll booth right in the middle of a super busy highway. Every single car that drives by has to pay you a small toll. Well, your bonds are that toll booth, and every trade happening on the platform is a car paying you a tiny fee. It's this constant stream of little payments that really, really adds up. So, how much do all those little tolls add up to? Well, based on the trading activity, these bonds are earning an approximate annual yield of around 60%. That means your $950 toll booth is working hard 24/7 just collecting those fees. All right, let's switch gears and talk about that smaller 5% slice, the $50 that went to the Treasury. Now, a lot of people see this and they immediately think it's a fee that just disappears. But that's not the whole story. It's actually a system that's designed to make the entire platform stronger. Think of the Treasury like a small business with a really strict budget. It's got a priority list for how it pays its bills. First, it pays back the project's startup costs at a set rate of $200 a day. Second, it covers daily operations, things like servers and security, for $50 a day. Now, here is the most important part. Every single dollar that's left over after those two bills are paid goes right back into the system, which increases the value for everybody. Let's look at a quick example. So imagine the Treasury brings in $1,000 today from everybody's 5% contributions. It pays its first bill, that $200 repayment. Then it pays its second bill, the $50 for operations. What's left? $750. That entire amount, a full 75% of the day's income, gets returned to the backing. It's not lost. So the crucial point here is this. That 5% isn't just a fee you pay. It's really just a temporary allocation that's used to pay some essential bills, and then the majority of it gets reinvested directly back into the system, making everyone's holdings more valuable over time. Okay, so you've deposited your money. 95% is out there acting like a toll booth, and 5% is helping run the system. So what do you get in your wallet right now as your proof of deposit? As your receipt, you get a token called LStake. Yep, like the food. The amount of LStake you get depends on this key number called BPT, which stands for backing per token. BPT is basically the real fundamental value supporting every single token. You just calculate it by taking the total value in the system and dividing it by the total number of tokens that exist. The math here is actually really simple. The protocol just takes the amount you deposited and divides it by whatever the current BPT is. So if the BPT happens to be exactly $1 when you deposit your $1,000, you get 1,000 LStake tokens. Easy as that. So now you've got LStake in your wallet, and you can just hold on to it, and its value will grow as the whole system grows. But There is an optional next step. You can choose to stake it, which basically means you're locking it up to help secure the network. When you do that, it converts into SL stake, which can potentially speed up your earnings. We're going to cover exactly how that works in a future explainer. But for now, just know it's an option you have. Okay, we followed the money down every single path. Let's zoom out for a second and look at the complete journey, all in one go. So here it is in 5 simple steps. 1, you deposit. 2, 95% becomes your fee-collecting toll booth. 3, 5% goes to the Treasury, which pays its bills and then returns the rest to strengthen the system. 4, you get LStake tokens in your wallet. And 5, you have the choice to stake those for SLStake. That's the whole flow. So now you know where your money goes. But that kind of brings up an even bigger question, right? What is this backing we keep mentioning? What is actually giving your LStake tokens their value in the first place? Well, in our next explainer, we're going deep on that exact concept of backing. We'll break down what BBT really is and why it's probably the most important number to watch. We'll also clear up the difference between the system's core value and the separate trading pools, and we'll look at how a hedge reserve works to protect that value. It's really the key to understanding what makes this whole thing tick. And to wrap things up, our full disclaimer. Remember, this is for your education. Crypto investments are speculative. They carry a ton of risk, including the chance you could lose everything you put in. So always talk to a financial professional before making any decisions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.